your hands on top of your head.
Well, I didn't.
Now!
Here comes the jam. Getting down with the truth. The only way he knows how to. Girls all up with his name. We call him the chief. The chief. You're damn right. He's gonna get that sucker. Gonna track down the truth. You know what a track down the truth. You know and what do they call him? We call him the chief. The chief. You're damn right we do.
I'll bet your mother had a loud bark.
Good morning. This is Morning Coffee with the Chief, and I'm your host, Patrick Jordan, on Pop Culture Minefield. You know, you can find us on YouTube and Rumble every 8 a.m. at Tuesday. You know, I've been down for the count a little bit with some injuries and some other stuff, so we've had to have a break in the show, but I think I'm back now. I think I got everything under control. And I just want to do some homework here on some other stuff that I have going on. You can find me every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rumble. But now they're going to show my show on YouTube as well. That's Briefing with the Chief, where I do analysis of the news and I talk public policy. And this week, I found a dinosaur. I found a dinosaur in California. It's a moderate Republican. Believe it or not, it was easier to find a dinosaur than a moderate Republican in California these days. But I found a moderate Republican, Robert Lucero. He worked on Robert F. Kennedy's campaign. He was a bigwig there. He's now come home back to California to run for the House seat, the 34th district here in California. And I'll be interviewing him tomorrow. And he has a lot of moderate positions. So we're going to get into it because, you know, what we really need, if Democrats are ever going to, if we're ever going to get a healthy democracy back, we need moderates to take back their party, the Democratic Party, because the leftists in charge in that party are just, well, they're going to keep descending as a party. But, you know, the division and the disruption they create along the way is really not good for our democracy. So to have strong, young, moderate Democrats step up, and they're the other party, they're the competition, but I'd rather compete against somebody who's got a brain in their head and common sense. And so I'm going to platform, we're going to talk about some of those things that, you know, we have in common. Believe it or not, he's for nuclear energy in California. Holy smokes, I'm for nuclear energy in California. So I had to give him a platform. Now, you can also find me on X at LASD Jordan. I opine about a lot of different things on X. I participate in some of the spaces on X as well. One of them is Walter Kurt's Political Theater. I jump on there almost every night, and every now and then I go up and I speak, depending on what they're talking about. But it's a great show, and they've morphed into a podcast/radio show as well themselves. It's good dialogue, and they do have some fun on that show. So it's not just all hard-hitting news. It's hard-hitting news with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek commentary. Now, I also want to talk about the Los Angeles Mission. Their gala is coming up, and they're working on raising some money to help out the people in the LA Mission area. It's they service the folks down in Skid Row, and their services are generally wraparound services. So they provide basic service to get people to come in the door, and they look for people who are ready to make a change, to integrate back in society, and they give them long-term treatment, 6 to 12 months. Very expensive, but that's the only real way to do it. It's this notion where you just give them a bed and cross your fingers and hope that they'll change just doesn't work. That's the kind of policy that the government's doing. But the LA Mission is different. They provide wraparound services with therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy programs. They do an excellent job, but they make the sign of the cross there at the LA Mission. So they don't get any government money. So they depend upon me and you. So go to the losangelesmission.org and make a donation today. I don't know, Martine, do we have the Los Angeles Mission banner that we can put under there in case the folks want to see where they can go? Anyways, okay, so that's my homework today. So we're going to do a British crime drama, Lock, Stock, and Two Barrels, and I have a couple of friends. And as we sit back for about 10, 15 minutes in the green room and talk, and we were already getting into the movie, so this should be fun. So let's bring on our guest. We have first retired Lieutenant John Baylis, in parts unknown, he's a California refugee himself, and he's escaped all the crazy politics. But given the policies in California, you're just close enough to be screwed over by the high gas prices.
Well, you know what happens with California, because Newscomb is such an idiot. They shut down 2 refineries, and because they just don't no longer work, they're so old. And Newsom and Jerry Brown, all them, won't let them build another one. So with the refinery shut down, in Nevada, we get all our gas and oil from California, whereas Arizona gets it from Texas. So Arizona's gas prices are at least $1.25 or more or less than mine.
Right.
Well, mine are still lower than California's.
Yeah, because we have all the other regulations that we have to deal with, which is crazy. And if there's one thing that's going to sideline Gavin Newsom's pursuit of the presidency, I guess is the way to say it.
Well, he's a fucking idiot.
Besides being an idiot, is the gas prices and the energy prices in California. I mean, once people start looking at and evaluating it, it's like, we don't want this guy. I see that as happening. But hey, welcome to the show. This should be a fun show. Let's bring on our second guest. That is Scott Orr, also in parts unknown. Well, actually, we do know he's in the volunteer state. He's escaped California as well. He's another California refugee. How you doing, Scott?
Good, Pat. Good to see you again.
So we're talking gas prices here. You were in California. Now you're back in Tennessee. What's the difference between gas prices? This is just so all the other people who are listening to us live and watching the show afterwards know that what Newsom will do to you if you vote him for president. What's your gas prices in Tennessee, and what were they last time you were in California?
Last time I was in California, unleaded was 4. Just regular unleaded was 4 something, I think.
The high 4s, though, right?
What's that?
Was it the high 4s?
Yeah, it was like 4. I don't know, like 4.59, 4.69 a gallon.
Yeah.
Well, we're $2.39 a gallon.
So it's over a $2 difference there in Tennessee.
And then diesel,
right?
I drive a diesel truck, and diesel out there was like $5.99 a gallon. It's $3.79 a gallon out here. So, yeah, you guys can just keep them in California. Keep them away from anything else. And like John was saying about the refineries, I watched an interview with the CEO of Chevron, and he said between the not letting them upgrade and all the regulations they keep throwing on them, these refineries, because Chevron's like, yeah, we're headed towards closing ours down also, because Valero closed theirs.
Yeah,
and Newsom came out and they played a clip of him years ago saying, we're gonna, hold these oil companies' feet to the fire, and we're gonna hold them responsible, and they're polluters and all this stuff. And then they play the next clip where he's up there. We've just eased the regulations on refineries. We're going to get our refineries back up. And it's like, dude, you.
I know. Could you imagine if he does actually run in the primary? If it's some moderate Democrat would probably just play those 2 clips.
Yeah.
This is what he said he was going to do. This is what he did. This is what he's trying. Now he's backtracking, right? Can't trust this guy. Can't trust this guy.
With him, you can do it on every issue.
Oh, I know.
After.
I was just going to bring up the when they pushed, to change everything from felonies to misdemeanors, whatever prop that was. And then they came out with the petition to change it back. And he was on the news. No, we shouldn't, leave it up to the voters. We should legislate it. That way, we can do this and we can do that, where if you just vote this in, it really ties your hands, and totally against it. And then when it passes by 85%, he's like, oh, I was all for it.
Right. Like, well, he didn't fund anything to help it, right? He didn't fund it. It required certain fund, and he just ignored it. So
and the train issue.
Issue. So the guy I'm going to interview, he is for high-speed rail. This is where I differ with him. I said, given our experience in California, I can't see that getting off the ground. But yeah, so I mean, hey, California is crazy, and so I understand why you guys escaped, but I'm still fighting a fight. I'm doing the best I can here. Yeah. The one little dot of red. Actually, I'm working with a candidate. She's Republican. She's running against Lindsay Horvath, 3rd District, and I did one little speech for her. I'm going to do another one here in a couple of weeks, and
Horvath is a commie.
Yeah, she is. Well, it's funny. The guy I'm going to interview, we got into a conversation. I go, well, what do you think of these democratic socialists? He said, those idiots, they had their chance. They're incompetent. I go, okay. I think I like this guy, even though he's a Democrat. I think I could talk to him. So, but yeah, that's and she is incompetent. If you look at, they just released an audit on the Eaton fire response and laid out how come none of that stuff worked over there, and it was and it rested primarily on the board of supervisors. They took over disaster response, and they didn't properly fund the migration to a newer CAD system. They didn't properly fund the training systems. They didn't properly fund an upgrade in the telephone notification system. They didn't do any of it. None of it. None of it was done correctly. And yet they're the ones who are in charge. They're the ones who control the purse strings. They're the ones who made a decision what they're going to fund and not fund. And of course, they're all, they're moonwalking away from, trying to moonwalk away from all the responsibility in that. And I don't think they're going to be able to, except the voters, they just don't remember when those failures happen. That's the crazy part.
That's why they have to be brought up every again. It's the same with, there was a bill passed for funding for the water system.
Yeah.
It disappeared. And those fire hydrants were empty.
Yeah.
All that crap. And also he's now trying to put affordable housing in Pacific Palisades.
They are. They did. They're saying they have to, if they're going to rebuild, they have to have affordable housing. Like they got apartment buildings that were there. They have to build them with affordable housing instead of just rebuilding them as they were before. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's Lindsay Horvath doing that. That's why they got a group. The guy was featured on the LA Times, or no, I'm sorry, New York Times recently, and he's helping my candidate's campaign, Tanya Ari's campaign, and there's some other folks. So it's still an uphill battle, but you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it. But hey, let's get on to our film here. We're going to do Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which was released in 1998. It's a neo-noir black comedy, which I would agree with that, crime film, and it was produced by Guy Ritchie, as pointed out in the green room. He used to be married to Madonna, right? And
then he got smart.
Then he got smart, and it features a lot of interesting people on the cast. Jason Flemyng, we got Jason Statham. Yes, he's the football player, right? Strahan is a football player, right? And
no, Jason Statham was an Olympic diver.
Statham. No. I keep getting them mixed up with Strahan.
Michael Strahan. Well, they have to mix those up, Pat. One's a huge black man.
I know. I mix it up. Statham, and but the interesting ones that I thought, Vinnie Jones, I thought was interesting. He's the former soccer player. Sting was in this movie, but it's the other guy too. He was not Hatchet. It was Lenny McLean. He played the Baptist here, Barry the Baptist, and he was an actual gangster and a thug, and he was an unofficial heavyweight champion for Britain as a boxer, allegedly. So this is the lore about him, and he's the really big guy in this movie. But what'd you think of the movie, John? I love this movie. It's entertaining and fun.
Yeah, I saw it back when it first came out. I thought it was hilarious, but I couldn't remember it all, so I watched it again, and it wasn't as funny the second time, but it was funny. There's a lot of idiosyncrasies that I just chuckle at when they do all this stuff. And plus, it's good to see all these stars when they started out.
Yeah.
And then you know them now. But no, it was a great movie. I thought he did a very good job. I think some of his other ones are even better than that. Snatch and Rock and Rolla.
Yeah, they're both good. This was his first, I think, in this genre, right? And but it's when they say dark comedy, it is funny. And what happens to these guys, and just the twists and turns of the movie also make it pretty interesting, right, Scott?
Yeah, but I remember when I watched it years ago, it's not my cup of tea.
Oh, it's not.
I mean, it's an entertaining movie, but the back and forth and all the crap that's going on. After a while, it's like, okay, let's.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Get to it. Because I already knew it was going to happen, but yeah.
And you know who produced it? Matthew Vaughn, the director of the movie we just did the last time.
Oh, Layer Cake?
Layer Cake, yeah. So Yeah, so it's kind of like layer cake. There's all these different moving parts, and I don't know. For me, it's like he took and then he made Snatch after that. So it's kind of like the same type of movie where you got all these different moving parts, and then they all come together at the end.
Well, it's interesting. They're all thugs, right? Everybody involved is to some degree is a thug. And then what happens when these thugs intersect and they're all trying to get the same thing, right?
Right.
Which is what happens. And you don't really know who's going to come out on top sometimes.
With all these murders, you don't see a single cop other than the poor traffic warden.
Exactly, the traffic cop that they beat up and
Do you recognize him? No, I don't.
And the funny part about that is, they
have all these
ducked him in
neighbors.
that van, and then later on, the good guys steal the van with the money, and then they realize they got the freaking cop in there. And then when they finally get stopped, the cop or the traffic enforcement
warden,
he looks in the lineup. He goes, no, these ain't the guys that beat me up. And they were all like, "Oh shit, thank God!" And they weren't, but it was quirky that way.
You have a machine gun in an apartment.
The what? The machine gun?
In a neighborhood. I mean, we've been to London. They're packed together.
I know.
You got a guy with a fully automatic machine gun,
a Bren gun. Ooh.
And nobody goes, hello, police. There's a machine gun going off in my neighborhood.
And of course, as we know, those rounds are going to go through a few walls before they stop, right? That's the thing about them. So. We got somebody with us here, Gambit. He's with us. Hey, welcome, and of course, Martine. Thank you for producing. Hey, let's roll with the first scene, and that's Jason Statham. How do you say that, John? Say that again. Statham, right? Was he a martial artist at all, John? Or that's
yes, he has been trained. I think he's got a black belt in judo too.
Okay.
Very athletic man.
He plays the tough guy, but he's, in just about everything. He's in the movie Transporters. He's done those movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Expendables.
Yeah. And, I think I like him in Transporter, but Expendables is funny because you got the whole crew of people. But, of course, they're all getting, we're going to see another Expendables, and, Sylvester Stallone's going to be like 80. He's going to be beating somebody up that's 25. So, okay, hey, we got... the Geek is here. Hey, hi from the UK.
From UK.
My voice. Well, hey, welcome aboard. We if you listen to us, Geeks, we're talking about these films, these British crime films. And here we got Jason. I did this scene just because it was him, and we recognize him from so many other things. And as John said earlier, he's very young. He's just starting out, and he's doing this is obviously stolen stuff that he's now selling on the street. We as cops recognize that, right? And the cops bust him up, and he takes off, right? Yeah, I love this movie. It's seemingly straightforward and yet ironic. Well, I think there's some twists and turns. You don't know which ones are. When you first watch a movie, you don't know which criminal gang's going to come on top sometimes. Even Harry the Hatchet gets it in the end, right? We'll see him, but
oh yeah.
But yeah, this guy, even though he could play a good James Bond too, in my mind, Jason here.
Yeah.
I like his movies, and he played like a bum one time, like a special forces guy, and somebody messed with his daughter or something like that. But I obviously he plays all action hero type stuff. Here's one of other
main guys. Yeah, he's in Fast and Furious. He's in a whole bunch of stuff, and it's
he just did The Beekeeper.
Oh,
he did The Beekeeper.
Good. Yeah. He killed everybody in that. That was good.
So we got our four main guys. Well, these are four main guys who are trying to get a stake together to get into an illegal poker match, which they end up losing. But I think the main guys we got Nick Moran, as he plays Eddie, Jason Flemyng, he plays Tom. We got and Dexter Fletcher, he plays Soap, and then of course we got our Jason here, who plays Bacon. That's kind of an interesting name. I don't know where they get these names. They don't really go into too much depth how they got these names, but so these four guys are trying to get a stake together to get into an illegal card game, in which the stakes are pretty high. Yeah, he's a good actor, John. What do you think?
Say it again.
Jason is a good actor. What did this?
Oh yeah, he is. He's improved his acting too, but here he's really pushing on the Cockney accent. And he's brought a very straightforward accent, but in this movie he's more of a Cockney accent, more of the lowbrow, you know.
Was he an American Olympian?
No, he's an Englishman.
He's English. Okay.
Yeah, he dove in the Olympics.
What do you think of him, Scott? You've seen a lot of his movies, right? Action movies. That's kind of our genre, anyways. Jason here.
I like him a lot. He's a good actor, and I've seen interviews, and he's a funny, kind of down to earth kind of guy, and doesn't think he's like all that in the back. He just, like you said in one interview, I'm just an actor, and they pay me to do acting, and it's been a good way of life. So I like him. He's in a lot of good stuff, and if you like action movies.
Okay, so I got his movie that he played in Mean Machine, right? The Transporter, The Italian Job. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot that you forget. Transporter,
Fast and Furious.
Revolver. I think that's
Revolver's a good movie.
Yeah. The Pink Panther. Crank. He was in that one. About.
Oh yeah.
Remember
that's
that
where
one?
Where they poisoned him, and
right.
he was going to die unless he kept his pulse rate up high. So he's doing all sorts of shit to stay alive.
Gambit, I think I want to do that movie, The Long Good Friday. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when we did Layer Cake, and I was trying to remember it, and I briefly brought it up. Before Guy directed this, he had directed a 1995 short film, which is available on YouTube. Oh, we'll have to check it out. But, I think Jason, the Mechanic, that's the other one. Remember, the Mechanic, it's...
oh, yeah. Charles Bronson's role.
It's a replay Charles Bronson, and God, who was Charles Bronson's sidekick on that? Jan Michael Vincent. So that was the original, right? And these guys redid it. And Blitz, he's had a lot of good action flick. Expendable 2s, he's been in the Fast and Furious series as well.
Oh yeah.
Wow, this guy, I wonder if he's worth like $1 billion. What do you think?
Oh, probably. He's up there. He's made a lot of good money. You see this clip right there with Jason Flemyng in the front?
Yeah.
Jason Flemyng also, like you said, was in Layer Cake. Last week he's been in X-Men, and he's in Snatch, and he played in a couple other movies. I can't read my handwriting. Never mind.
He was in Extraordinary League of Gentlemen or whatever that was.
Yeah, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, with Sean Connery,
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, he's got a Jungle Book. He was in the Jungle Book. I didn't know that he was in that. Let's see, the guy you're talking about right now, Indian Summer, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, of course. Deep Rising. That doesn't quite have the same list as Jason here, but he's in Transporter too. Wow. Okay. The Death and Life of a Bobby Z. So I don't know, but oh, there you go. X-Men First Class. That's what you're talking about, right, John?
Yep.
X-Men First Class. So yeah, he's got a pretty good. So what I think the ensemble kind of makes the movie, right? And the interplay between the characters. I mean, you don't see a lot. You do see a lot of shooting, but you don't see a lot of blowing up stuff and Fast and Furious stuff, but it is unrealistic, because they are using a Bren gun in some of this and shooting stuff up, and
everybody else brings a knife, and this guy's got a Bren gun. And the funny part is the dirtbag that's running that crew. They're like, "Oh, what the hell is that shit? What are you on?"
We all have a friend like that.
Exactly.
Why is this frozen, Martine? It seems to be frozen on this. Is there what's going on here? So, but all right. So, we got other actors that we got to come on. I think we need to do Hatchet Harry as if this one is done. Martina, what's going on here? This seems to be frozen up here. Are we having technical difficulties? Martine might be gone. I don't know. Let's see. Let me see. There we go. Okay. All right. Well, let's roll with Hatchet Harry, and there's a bunch of these series. These clips are actually pretty close to each other. In the first part of the movie, they kind of introduce everybody, And in this one, it brings in Hatchet Harry, who's he's the main crime guy, and then Barry the Baptist, which is Lenny McLean, who is a very interesting character himself, right? And I did want to talk a little bit about Lenny McLean. I'm here, John, waiting for Martin. It's like, hey, what's going on, Martin? You want to roll that next clip? It's called Hatchet Harry.
The guy that does the voiceover, and you see him at the bar just for a second, and then he's standing when they get released from the police. He's standing outside talking to Sting's son, one of the main guys. You know, he plays the mob boss in Snatch.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
He kind of puts a lot of that together, and the same shit happens to him.
Yeah.
Well, that mob boss is why Sting's dad was obvious, or his dad Sting was part of the mob too, but a different mob. So they could have really got into a lot in this film.
Well, like when you can respectfully tell Harry to fuck off.
Well, it's Hatchet Harry. Well, it's interesting. He's in the Long Good Friday too. So this is the Long Good Friday. Yeah, we got to do that movie just because, and I'll get you guys to watch it with Hodgkins.
Chief,
yeah,
my computer restarted. So, do you need me to be running anything?
Yeah, throw Hatchet Harry up there the scene if you can.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we froze up. Figured something was gone. But here's Hatchet Harry, and his real name is Paul Hugh Moriarty, and he's he like I said, he played in The Long Good Friday and Guy Ritchie's Lock, Stock. He plays the main bad guy here, the guy that actually rips these guys off. You know, I was watching as they end up in this poker match, and you go, "There's no way they're going to be betting this without having some kind of cheating going on." And the fact that these guys allowed themselves to get cheated is shocking to me. But here these guys up. Everybody's got to pony up $25,000 to get in this game. So they are pounds, I guess I should say, 25,000 pounds to get in the game, so that they have 100,000.
Close to $48,000.
Yeah, it's this is probably they had cell phones, so this is circa 1980. They probably did this, right? What do you think this? Maybe it was actually set in the 80s and 90s. I didn't even think of that, but Harry, we're going to see him pretty soon, and he plays the main bad guy, and he had a very long, lustrous career as an actor. I think he's passed away now. Let me see here. He died. He died in 2025, just in February. So at 86 years old. But he plays a good bad guy, and I like his crime partner, which we're going to talk about. But here's Harry's sex shop. And so he obviously is running a brothel type strip club and selling toys, I guess, kind of like the Pleasure Chest. John knows what I'm talking about, right?
Oh.
So when you work West Hollywood, and one of the things they do to kind of shock you, because it's really is literally sex, drugs, and rock and roll, is they take you to this place called the Pleasure Chest. Your training officer, somebody will take you there just to get a rise out of you. And it's every single sex tool or toy you could think of, or that you couldn't think of, that is there, right? They got, and I remember getting taken in there, and I'm like, when I see Harry's sex shop, that's what I was thinking. The Pleasure Chest is.
Yep.
They service every tool, every toy you need to service every one of your sexual desires. Here's our guy, Lenny McLean. This guy was a real bad guy. He dealt with the Krays. Yeah, if we talk about the Krays, now they did a movie on the Krays, right? And that was, I think Tom Hardy played both brothers, the Kray brothers. They were.
He did a great job in that.
I think they were gangsters in the 60s, right, John? 60s and early 70s. And but he was a counterpart of one of theirs, and the Kray brothers, and of Ronnie Biggs, who was a big gangster in London as well on the South End. And you just show this is why they call him the Baptist, because he dunks everybody in water, and he's obviously an enforcer. Now the thing about it, they dedicated the movie to him because he passed away of cancer afterwards. But he was also a pugilist. He was he fought. He was considered the unofficial heavyweight champion of Great Britain. I think that was Bare Knuckles. I can't remember now.
Yeah, he did bare knuckles.
Bare Knuckles. And you can see it in his face. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. And his voice is perfect for it too.
Yeah. So here's these two guys, and obviously they like each other. And one is the boss. Here's Harry the boss, and Harry the Hatchet, and here's one of his sex toys. And then you got Lenny McLean. So what do you think of these two characters, Scott?
Oh, they play the part pretty well. I mean, they, especially the Baptist, and you can tell that he's seen the other side of law.
Oh yeah.
And he plays a great heavy. I mean, he's a big, huge guy. Looks like he's been punched in the face a few times.
Oh yeah. Somebody you don't really want to mess with.
Yeah. Somebody you go, well, that's probably not the guy I want to go over and start screwing with. And then you got Hatchet Harry. Harry the Hatchet. He's that dapper guy that's got all the money, and that's what cracks me up a lot. Like a lot of these films is you got all these henchmen. It's like, where do they find, like, if I was working for a billionaire and he was doing shady shit and people were his henchmen are getting all knocked off, I'd be like, you know what, I'm out.
The cost is too high. I think we got a thing from Geek. It says, it was bare knuckles fighters, and he made people disappear in his pubs in London. That's that he's talking about Lenny McLean. Yeah, that's an interesting thing because this guy was a real life gangster. They used him in the film, and you have to believe all of his time in if he's doing this gangster stuff since the '60s, and this is in the late '90s they filmed this. He had to have been involved in some really, really nefarious stuff, and yet they give him an acting role. I mean, that's the part where it's like, is making money. You can't find a real actor to do this spot. You got to use the real thug, who likely was involved in, as they say on YouTube,
right?
He was involved in what?
Authenticity, right?
Well, yeah, authenticity. I guess. Yeah, making them disappear. What do you think of these guys, John? Harry the Hatchet and Barry the Baptist, which is they kind of rhyme. I didn't even think of that. But,
normal. When they were cheating at the card game, they had these guys number. They knew it was going to happen all the time. But when he's talking and he's threatening people, the big guy, you're like, that's not somebody you want to send a 5'2" cop to arrest. You know what I mean?
No.
Especially a female cop. But he was a big bruiser. But no, they played the parts perfectly. And Harry being the arrogant, I'm in charge. Everybody's afraid of me because of my nickname, that type of thing. They did a great job.
Yeah, he's the only guy. You go after him when you got an equalizer, either, a couple of friends, Smith and Wesson, or your Italian friend, Beretta, one or the other. You take him to these bare knuckles fighter, and he used to make people disappear in his pub on the Thames. Yes. That's Yeah, so it's okay, authenticity, but it's like, we couldn't find a real actor. He has a great book, The Governor.
Really?
I think that was his nickname.
The Governor.
Governor, was that his nickname? I can't. On the streets.
Yep.
Did you read it? Well, did you read it? I guess is the question I have for the geek. Did you read the book, and is that his street name? Lenny McLean. So yeah, it's an interesting guy when you read up on this guy, and. Not that I want to glorify thugs. I mean,
he's very colorful.
Crooks. Yeah, but he is colorful, and he definitely adds authenticity to the movie. Yeah, I got something. So he worked on London South End, which was the cesspool of sex and drugs. I guess that's said in the movie. It did remind me of, John. You remember West Hollywood before incorporation? It was a lot steamier, right? When the county had it, and they didn't. And after incorporation, even though there was still a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the I don't want to say the city fathers because I didn't think much of them anyways, but they did. A lot of that stuff went inside. It didn't go away. It just went into the hotels. It wasn't on the streets anymore. They got rid of some of the sex shops and that kind of stuff, and. But the sex and drugs was all still there when I went, because I worked there for 9 years and I was gone for 6. I came back as a lieutenant, and it was still there. It was just a little more hidden,
a little more reserved. But on Santa Monica, where all the gay bars were, lesbian and male gay, and then Sunset had all the rock and roll bars. But they still, we couldn't have Vice come in because on the East End where you had all the trannies, and then you also had the gay guys sitting at the park bench, or not the park bench, the bus benches. Buses don't run after a certain hour, but they're sitting there waiting for a bus. It's basically they're waiting for a date with another guy.
Yeah.
And the city said, hey, they're just trying to get a date. Leave them alone. You're like, really?
John, weren't you at the Yukon Mining Company all the time?
Oh, yeah, all the time. And the Mother Lode. That was right next to it. LODE, Lode.
I was working overtime as a sergeant. Somebody, the watch commander, who he's like, hey, I want to. So we drive through there, and of course, we had to work the Gay Pride Parade, and they had a gang problem, so they sent in the OSS and GET teams. So it's like, really? But anyway, I already knew what it was. I'm like, why are you taking me here? Because unless you're interested, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then he didn't think it was so funny because I already knew what it was.
Some of the best food, though, was French Marketplace.
Yeah,
it was
good.
a gay restaurant. They cooked up some good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they always gave you a deal,
Oh yeah.
I think the other I got to equate this to New York's Times Square. Before they rehabilitated Times Square, that's what it was. Sex, drugs, peep shows, that kind of stuff. So it's not. So the South End in London, we had equivalents in New York, we had equivalents in Los Angeles. Certainly not just in West Hollywood. If you spread out from West Hollywood, Hollywood proper, they had some of the same kind of stuff as well.
Pasadena.
So we had our seedy places. So he read his book, the governor. He read. Let's see. It tells about the true darkness of old school London gangsters, known as the Governor. Yeah, and so we had those kind of. Okay. So we had Eddie Nash, right?
Oh yeah.
Eddie Nash and was that Starwood, and that led, and he was
John Holmes. We
did
Holmes.
That
movie on them.
Right, and they were part of the massacre on. God, I'm forgetting the street. It was Winterland. Was it Winterland? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And where they murdered 4 or 5 people over.
Yep.
So the same kind of, as we were going to see in this movie, same kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, seedy side of life, catering to every one of your hedonistic needs. We've had those in London. We have them in New York. We have them in Los Angeles. I'm sure they're in Chicago somewhere and some of the other.
You remember just down the station in West Hollywood, across the street and down like 2 doors, there was a building, his office building, and they turned it into a church. It was a dominatrix church.
Yeah, I did hear.
You went in, and all the windows were blacked out. And,
yeah,
you went in there for special stuff.
Hey, you need your 503C, right? You got to
get
Exactly.
It's the temple of dominatrix. I know. And they took down a massage parlor, and I think it was LAPD advice, and I think they did partner with the sheriff's department's downtown vice unit. And the owner of it was a professor. He was a dean of a business school at Cal State Northridge University.
Was it Northridge? Okay.
Yeah, and he actually owned it. He actually owned the massage parlor. So it's interesting stuff when you start digging. So he was the Harry Hatchet of, but teaching kids how to run a business.
Yeah.
He didn't say whether it was legal or not.
Happy endings are very profitable. If you can get a business gives happy endings and nobody's taxing on it, you can make a lot of money, right?
There's a movie where a guy goes in for a massage. It's called Couples Retreat.
Yeah.
The beautiful masseuse comes in and he says, "What kind of massage would you like?" And he's like, "Korean." He goes, "I'm sorry, I've never heard of that one."
Man. So, I saw and of course a lot of drug dealers too. And the interesting thing, so you see, I don't really use it as a scene, but maybe we'll see in a little bit. Is the cage? You check out. Remember the marijuana dealers, and they have the cage for security, and the guy. That just reminded me of the crack epidemic here. When they were doing raids here in LA during the crack epidemic, these gangsters had constructed cages, not just for cops, but to avoid ripoffs like we see in the movie, but also to delay the cops so they can destroy evidence. So it was interesting that you see the cage in the movie, and that is consistent with what we deal with drug dealers here. I didn't work narcotics, Scott, but that's something that they still have that stuff when you were working gangs.
Oh yeah. We used to they put those security screen doors on, but they'd also put the doors
Steel frames.
They put steel frames, or they put the doors where they actually open out instead of in. So they were hard to. So of course, I mean, you got to give gang members. I give them credit; they're very resourceful, and they learn too. They don't just the real gangs, not your little poo butt gangs, but your real gangs. But we countered that with we just have SEB or SWAT for those. Sheriff's Department can't have the same thing as LAPD, so ours is called Special Enforcement Bureau. They would just go hook a hook on the front door and yank it the whole front of the house off. So
Safest way to do it.
I remember that, and we went through the 90s, and somehow our politicians have forgotten that when we retreated from enforcing narcotics laws today. But I just remember the cage, and that was something we dealt with here in LA, and I imagine all across the country, the hardened entrances. And it wasn't just to protect from cops, right, Scott? It would also include a protection from ripoffs. And
you'd see their security screen, like the normal people in Compton and it's South LA, or can't call it South Central, South LA. They'd have the black security screen doors because it gets hot. You want to have your door open, and a lot of them don't have AC. But you could tell the ones dealing dope because they had a big old slot, that opened up from the inside so they could just hand stuff out.
Exactly.
And then they could close it.
Well, that's
we
what
actually
normal.
had a shooting where they opened the little hatch on the front of the screen door, and somebody shot the guy opening the hatch, but
it wasn't able to get in still, right? Yeah.
Well, it was more of a hit than it was
It
was more of a message that stopped dealing dope, and it's always about who gets to deal the dope.
So and it's funny because regular businesses do that kind of stuff too, right, John? They put in plexiglass and harden everything, and the dope dealers they're afraid of getting ripped off too, so they got to do the same thing in those neighborhoods, right? So
yeah.
Well,
but I just thought
look at Carson Station, Pat.
Oh, I know.
For years we can't have glass because it'll be like a bank. We don't want the public to feel like it's a bank.
Right. Until you have shooting.
I went into the 50th anniversary. Carson had that big, huge lobby.
Right.
You can fit like 4 people in it now, and it's all plexiglass, bulletproof.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
I know they. Well, the argument that the captain at the time was making was, well, it's like being out in the public anyways, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he was wrong because we're not sitting with our back turned,
Right.
Because the guy who got shot, he was sideways to the guy who shot him, right? So he was paying attention to the CAD, not paying attention. I just remember the night of that shooting, there were 8 people in that lobby, 8 other people, they're trying to squeeze into the wall as the shooting started.
Yeah.
But
I just missed the guy sitting next to the door.
Did you?
Oh yeah, it went right by his head, went through the door frame.
Wow.
All right. So I guess we got to explain. So, one night, my first night as a watch commander of station, Scott was working there, and somebody came in and shot a deputy, and we had a gunfight in the lobby. Scott was the guy who took him out and dragged the deputy who'd been shot to safety. That's what we're talking about. There were 8 people in the lobby as well, 8 civilians in the lobby as well as this gunfight erupted, and it was. That's what we're talking about. So got to go and get dinner for the kids. Oh wow, that's right, dinner time there, right? So you're in.
Hey, Geek.
Note myself.
God bless you guys in UK.
That's right. Be careful. Yeah, you got a lot going on in the UK, and thanks for dropping in and talking to us, Geek, and giving us some history on the south end of London and the bad guys down there. Let's roll with Big Chris. Now I knew this would be a good scene because I liked this actor. And I did a scene just for him because this is Vincent Peter Jones, a former soccer player.
Vinnie Jones.
Yep. And he put together a very successful career as an actor. And I think this is his first big one. He began his
Yep.
career. He says, yeah, he did some film and television with Lock, Stock, and Barrel, Two Smoking Barrels. So he began his career with this one, and he won an award, Empire's Best Newcomer of the Empire's Award for Best Newcomer, right? So I guess that's their. Then he went into Snatch, and he got another Actors Award. Gone in 60 Seconds, Mean Machine, Euro Trip. As you guys, somebody mentioned that. You guys
Kill the
mentioned that.
Irishman. He was in a lot of stuff.
Extra, X-Men, Last Stand,
Yep.
The Riddle, Midnight, Meat Train, 1 Year, The Cape. I'm just going through some of the stuff. Fire with Fire, The Musketeers, NCIC. So he did some TV. The Gentleman, the Big and Ugly. So here he is. He's with his son, and this is. When do you guys want to explain the relationship between he and his son? It's really odd. John, you want to handle it?
Well, I thought it was wonderful. It's amazing how he's acting, and he's a enforcer to go get payment, for the loan sharks, and he's doing all sorts of violent shit. But this guy right here says, "What the fuck?" He goes, "Don't cuss in front of me, son." And he starts beating the hell out of him. Then the kid says something filthy. He goes, "Shut your mouth and go sit in the car. I'll smack you." He's trying to raise this kid because
That includes blasphemy.
and the kid's going to be just as bad as him. But
I'm here to mess you up, but don't blaspheme.
Yeah, the dichotomy of being a hard ass killer, beating people, and then a softer dad at the same time, it just cracks me up. He does a great job in this movie.
That's a lovely tan you got there. I mean, okay, so he's going to have. So I mean, you have to think about this. Okay, well, let's put him in. Could you imagine the writing? Okay, how are we going to make it where the guy's vulnerable and we can make some comic? Let's put him in a tanning booth, right? And then slam the tanning booth the door up and down on him, which is, I think this was a really funny scene. Not just because of the back and forth of his son, but you got this gangster guy who's in a tanning booth, and so vanity and and vulnerability for that. What do you think, John? I mean, think about the writing.
Oh, it's great.
They probably borrowed Madonna's tanning booth too for this. I would think.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And look at his evil eyes in this right here.
I know.
Where he's going to smash them.
See,
Vinnie Jones does a great job, though.
I love Vinnie Jones, but I guess I'm too analytical when I watch a lot of movies. Like, the guy's laying in the tanning bed already,
right,
with the lid closed, but yet Vinny shows up and slamming it and messing up his face. I don't I don't get that. He was fine when he was in it before Vinny here started beating the crap out of him. But it's like, how did he? It was closed before. How is it hitting him in the face now?
Oh, he opened it up. He opened it up and started talking to him, and boom, boom.
Right, but if you're already laying in there with the lid closed.
Yeah, but the lid doesn't close all the way normally. It's about that far above your body.
I've never been in one.
If you break it or you take the lock off, you can slam it all the way down.
Oh, okay.
So, John, do those things give you a good tan? Did you use those things?
No, I'm allergic to them. I tried them several times back in when I was 20 and 30, and my whole chest broke out. I can't do those UV rays.
But yeah, you're right. Look at his face. I mean, he does play a really good bad guy. You want to have paid, right? Yeah. So. Yep. And you think that this is his first film? This is his first real big acting gig, right?
Yeah, that's what impressed me the most.
And but the same with Lenny. They kind of do they overpower the part by just being extra vicious, but here's our four guys also getting together, talking about what they're going to do here. And let me go back to their names because I think we got Eddie, Tom, Soap, and Bacon. I think I would have wanted a different name other than Bacon, but there's,
Well, Bacon is the cook, right?
No, I think Jason is Bacon, right?
Because he said, "Why do you call me Bacon?" And one guy says, "Because you're fat." At the beginning, and it's like none of these guys.
No, Jason Statham is Bacon.
Oh.
Yeah, and let's see, Dexter Fletcher is Soap, and Jason Flemyng is Tom, and Nick Moran is Eddie. So,
yeah, I don't know how they got those names.
Here's Sting.
Here's Sting, right? And and I wish they'd have developed his character a little more because I would have liked to know. Okay, this guy doesn't intimidate because he gets a call later. Hey, when you're gonna, you know, hey, your son owes me. You're gonna have to turn over your pub. And he's like, yeah, right, whatever. So, and I would think, you know, if you're a pub owner operating on the South End at this time, yeah, you're not going to be just a pushover, right? Because you probably had to deal with these guys before. I imagine.
I think he's
back
mobbed up too.
He's backed by a different mob.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, and because otherwise, you know, extortion's part of their game too, right? They're not like all the other gangsters. Everybody's got to pay. I think the craze, that's one of their big things. Is here's Lenny McLean again and Harry the Hatchet, but yeah, extortion is part of it. So if you're running a business in and around the South End of London, you're running particularly a pub. You're used to the life, right, Scott? You know what you're dealing with, and you're either connected to somebody or you're paying somebody, would be my guess.
Yeah, you gotta pay. I mean, look at the whole big scandal. I think it was in L.A. where to get your beverage license, somebody was you're paying the outrageous fee in the first place, which I don't understand, and then you also had to pay off the guy, or the inspector scandal that comes into your bar or restaurant and goes, oh, you're going to get a D. You're not going to be able to. And then all of a sudden it's an A. It's like,
yeah.
And I know a couple restaurant owners, and one of them is one we used to frequent quite often, who had an A in her window. And I asked her one time, you know, how do you get an A? And she says, you just got to know the right people.
You know, they just had a big scandal in New York where the commissioner of police, Ed Caban, I think it was his name, he stepped down. His brother was essentially selling protection for club owners. You know, he had a consulting business and would make sure the cops didn't come around, right? So, I mean, I guess this is the name of the game. But also, you know, the other thing, these bar owners, same South Boston, right? Right, John, with the Winter Hill Gang. These guys are, you know, everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows who's doing what, particularly if you're in the nightlife, right? So,
right.
But here's Barry the Baptist. And here's these two other idiots. Now he's recruiting these guys to go steal some shotguns that had been listed at auction, and he's telling them where to get them from. And it's amazing because these two clowns end up being the ones who take.
They hired the stupidest guys.
Yeah, you know. Well, I think they provided some of them some fun comedic scenes too later on. But
exactly.
And he tells them, "Hey, just get the antique ones." You would think he would give them a picture of them. This is what they look like. Make sure you get these, but he doesn't do that. And of course, these guys, they're dummies, but they're also pretty scared of the Baptist here. But hey, you know,
he tells them to get the oldest gun, you dumb fuck. Okay, they're not the brightest tools in the shed.
Yeah, as long as they're not the complete and boonish Muppets, you know, they do manage to successfully rip off some guns, and it is funny when they do go to rip them off. The old guy tries to take one of them out and parts his hair. Parts of one guy's hair.
Put the whole right through.
So, but yeah, you would think that Lenny would get somebody a little smarter than these guys, a little more capable. Because I think they said, "Hey, we don't do that kind of stuff." Well, you're going to
rob post offices and steal cars.
Yeah, we don't do that guy. Well, you're going to do this, right? You know, so I guess he's not a guy you say no to, right? He's not a guy you say. But this is just one more of those, like those in James Bond films. This is just one more of those plot twists and storylines that we talked about. We got all these different storylines going of guys doing different things, and eventually they're going to intersect. This is how, like Layer Cake, Scott, last time we did similar stuff. Was it Rockefeller? Same kind of thing. And then this one here, and which is what makes it entertaining. When are these guys going to intersect, and what's going to happen to these guys? But that's that scene. That's Big Chris. So we got to see Big Chris. And we got to see our Muppets, as one of our audience talks about. But hey, let's see how many more scenes I got to go here. I want to make sure I space them out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 more scenes. Let's go with the Kenny. You okay? This is so they do the robbery, right? And or they do the burglary. And here, and this is the scene where he's got the old guy. They already got the guns, right? And so Kenny decides that he's going to torture the owners to see if they can get more money out of this. Remember that? And here he's got, what are you doing? He goes, hey, there's more money here. Why do? And it's like, why do you always do that? And the interesting thing, he said his name. Why do you always do this, Kenny? Right? And this is where there's another old guy. And it's funny because I was wondering, as they went to rip off the gun, you see another guy in slippers following him up the steps. So there's going to be a confrontation. And so they got the 2 people in bed here. He's torturing the one guy, and which is the thing about this is they're dummies, right? And to some degree they're sympathetic until you see them start doing this stuff, right? They start torturing their victims to get more money out of this. And this is the other thing that's funny about this is I don't think I've ever seen a crook wear stockies like this, John. I just...
Not the big ones like that. You can see who he is. The other ones that are pale and push your face down, you can't really tell. But
they did come from Lenny's sex shop or Harry's sex shop. Yeah, but how about the other Kenny's only got that black thing going over his
Well, it reminds me of an old cartoon. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where 2 masked robbers go into a bank, and one's got the money over here, and one's at the teller and goes, hey, Mike, you wouldn't believe this. This guy looks just like you.
So here's
That's quite a mask.
That was funny. So I just to tell the crowd. So the old guy follows them up as they're doing their burglary, and he takes a shot. Just as Kenny's partner ducks, and it parts Kenny's hair, and his crime partner knocks the old guy down, pins the gun down, and then he goes to check on Kenny. You see that's the scene where Kenny's hair is split because the shotgun took out the middle section of his hair. Yeah, I think that was probably, I don't want to say that was the funniest part of the movie, but that was good. That was good and just his whole look, the Kenny's look, and you saw it there in that shot. That was the funny thing about it. And they do get guns, and it was actually the old guy was using one of the antique guns when he did that, and so they got that gun, and they end up selling those 2 guns because they weren't in the safe. And this is where, and this intersects. It ends up with our gangsters when they do the ripoff. But here we are. They're having. Believe this is now they're doing their poker match, and I was when this first started, it was like, okay, these guys are in this match. Are they going to try and cheat, or is it going to be? Or are they going to get cheated? And of course they get cheated, right? And you would think you're going into this match, they got to have all the corners covered, right? They're not going to lose. The house is not going to lose here. These are not the kind of. And here's the other thing. This is the part. Why would you get in a poker match with people called Harry the Hatchet and Barry the Baptist? I wouldn't want to, because if they're going to lose, they're just going to get their money back in another way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no honor amongst thieves here, and of course they're cheating, right? And here's Barry's also having a conversation with our crooks at the same time. But why would you play these guys? This is like making a deal with Eddie Nash, right? I mean,
it's a movie.
Well, yeah, but they're all crooks.
There are stupid criminals out there.
Well, you think that they're going to be honorable in a poker match is what I no, of course not.
It's stupid to think that.
Right.
But he got into it. They were letting him win. They were watching his cards, and he kept winning. That's when they pulled the trigger on him.
Yeah,
when he's sitting there at the beginning, and Harry's asking Barry the Baptist about where they came up with the money to get in the game, Barry tells him this guy's a problem. He's really good. And so we basically have to take different measures.
Oh, yeah. They're going to make sure he loses. But they set him up. But same question you, Scott. Why would you get in a game with somebody called Harry the Hatchet, who's a crime lord? If you beat him, he's going to come after you in some other way, right? He's not going to forget.
Oh, well, first of all, Pat, when you basically go all in with your $100,000 bet, and he raises it up to 250, you got to think something's going on.
Right.
That's when you walk away.
That's when you go, no, you know what? I fold.
Yeah.
And I'm out of here.
There's no limits, right? Yeah.
And then when he offers to give you a loan, and you're like, okay, sure, I'll owe you $500,000. Sure. Oh, yeah. I'd love to owe money to a guy named Harry the Hatchet, this henchman, Barry the Baptist. Sure.
All right, we're at
gambler, so I'd never get in the game in the first place.
Yeah, I used to play some Texas Hold'em, but not for big stakes. You never know. When you start gambling, it gets a little emotional when you lose, right? You keep trying, which is, I go, all right, I can't do that because I don't like losing money. All right, we are at the halfway mark, and we are going to take a break. You got 2 minutes, gentlemen, to take care of any business. Martine, are we ready for our mid movie break here, or mid program break?
There's only one location on the internet where you can get it all: movie, TV, and comic industry. News and rumor analysis. Official scoops from Geekosity magazine. Reviews and interviews. So, when you need it to be Sunday, there's only one place to go, mate. Pop Culture Minefield. Well, they're always talking nerd stuff. Right, jog on then. There's only one location on the internet where you can get it all: movie, TV, and comic industry. News and rumor analysis. Official scoops from Geekosity magazine. Reviews and interviews. So, when you need it to be Sunday, there's only one place to go, mate. Pop Culture Minefield. Well, they're always talking nerd stuff. Right, jog on then.
Welcome back to Morning Coffee with the Chief. We are reviewing the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels with retired Lieutenant John Baylis, retired Sergeant Scott Orr. We're about halfway through the film, and like I said, we got a lot of great players. You can find this show every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. Is Pop Culture Minefield on YouTube and on Rumble. And I think you can also find it on Twitter and on their Facebook page as well. So welcome back, guys. Hope everything came out okay. So, all right, let's roll with the next. Well, I gotta say something. So you're right. So he takes a loan for $500,000, or actually, I guess it's $500,000 to do this bet, and
not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, and they give him a week to come up with money. A week to come up with. I had 500 pounds, right? So is it? I think they say dollars in the movie, but so big money either way, whether it's pounds or dollars, so of course they start thinking, well, how are we going to do this?
I think it was a play though, Pat, to try to get the guy's Sting's bar.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they knew what they wanted, and they were pressuring, and you hear them talking about it, or you see them talking about it. They definitely wanted his bar, and he ain't having any of it. He's, hey, that's between you and my son, right? So he's not getting, and of course he's disappointed with his son. You'd think that he would step in and stop this stuff, but kids will be kids, I guess.
My dad
right?
wouldn't.
Your dad wouldn't?
Oh,
No.
You made your
No.
bed, you sleep in it.
Exactly.
So, and as they start bringing other characters in here. This is the, we got the black guy that they bring in here. I forget his name. What is his name, John? Let's see. It's, where is that character?
You mean Vinnie Jones?
Yeah. He's the black guy who, they're going to the bar. Remember?
He's the pimp and the hustler. Oh yeah. I can't remember the name.
He's the main drug dealer.
Right. Is it, that's not Barfight Jack. No. I'm looking for Roy he's Roy Breaker, right? It's Voss Blackwood. It's Roy Breaker is his name. Anyway, so it was. Did you see the scene? So he's going to before the scene starts. We got one guy who's going to play. Three of the guys are going to the bar, and you see this guy come running out of the bar on fire, and they just kind of watch him, and then they go in and get their drinks, right? And they end up explaining what happens later on as you get these other guys that intersect into this story, and that he's just another guy on the South End that's a thug, right? Exactly. Voss Blackwood plays Roy Breaker, right? Rory Breaker, sorry. And it's funny, they serve them these drinks that they didn't like. So here's the play where the guy ends up on fire running out, and so this is what one guy was telling the story about him. And then he runs out on fire. So they have to bring in these other people because one, they got the tough crew that lives next door to these guys that they're actually listening to what's going on, and they realize that they got an enterprise that's going on that's making a lot of money as well, and they're stuck in this thing where they got to come up with $500,000. They're hearing about these guys wanting to do a ripoff. So here's our other guy, Lenny McLean, in the scene, and he is talking to his these two knuckleheads that he hired. I think they realize that those ain't the shotguns. You don't got the right shotguns, and so where are the antique shotguns? And they tell him, well, we sold them, right? And he wants them to get it back. And so these guys. So they did their job. They ripped off the shotguns, but they didn't get the right ones, right? Or they sold the ones that were most valuable. And Lenny McLean wants them back, or Barry the Baptist wants them back and says, you're going to go get them or else. And again, so these guys they think they're done. Now they have to go back and get these shotguns who they had sold to the Italian guy. I'm forgetting his name now, and which ended up in the hands of our four wannabe gangsters for them to do the ripoff. So here, John, they're kind of pushing. They keep pushing these people to intersect in this movie, which is what makes them kind of interesting. The movies, right? Where are these people going to intersect with different criminal crews, right? And what is them going to be, right? So they keep pushing this, and these guys, they think they're out. Now they got to chase down where they sold these guns to get them back, right? At the same time, we get the black guy that enters in as another main character, at least. And where's he going to intersect in all this too, right? So this is what makes these movies interesting, whether it's Layer Cake or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, or what do you think?
Yeah, you had like 5 different groups intersecting. Eventually, you've got Lenny and Harry the Hatchet with these two idiots, and you've got the black guy coming in, Breaker,
right?
And you've got this idiot right here.
Right.
Who was already given orders by somebody else, and he's giving them rifles to the 4 would-be gangsters.
So the
would-be gangsters are eavesdropping on the guys next door.
That's 5.
It's a totally different group that are going to go rip off and get the
drug money,
the rep weapons. I mean, there was so many different groups going for the same shit.
Well, they didn't
even know it. until the one guy gets his head pushed through the vent, and they see the
Right.
eavesdropping. But all the guys coming together at once, you get them all just sitting there looking for the same stuff.
Well, you got the puffs who are selling the weed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And got the money for
That's-
Boss Blackwood or the breaker.
Right.
You got that group, the three of them who live
That's-
behind the caged
Yeah. That's
door.
6.
So yeah, you got all these different. So that they're listening in on the one group who are going to go rip off
The drug dealers.
the drug dealers for Breaker. It's just after a while you're like, what? There's too many plates spinning for me.
They know they got all the drugs and the marijuana plants, and they think they got a ton of money, and then they trying to. That's when they had the Bren gun trying to get in,
Yeah.
and then they finally get in. Oh, it's just total clusterfucks.
And then you have some independent, like Vinnie Jones. He's kind of independent, although he kind of works. He's a contractor, essentially, right?
He's basically the muscle for loan sharks.
Yeah, and he gets hired. Hey, my boss is gone. I can, so he's kind of his own actor, right? He's
a debt collector.
He's a debt collector, yeah, and he's for hire. And here's where they do sell the guns. I have to tell you, I was thinking, God, I wonder if they're going to saw those shotguns down. I really thought that's what they were going to do. And,
Me too at first.
And they end up not doing that.
Thank God, because it ruined the value.
See, man, I swear this has to be the funniest action comedy that ever rewatched time and time again. It is funny because, things you don't get the first time, you get the second time, or maybe you get a little different meaning out of it the second time around, right? But like I said, this is a good movie, and I do like this this kind of genre of a film because it's kind of got his own little lane, right, John? This genre of films that Guy Ritchie. And I'm trying to think of. There's they made American ones as it's the one we talked about where he's wired on stuff. Yeah, it's called Wired, right? That similar kind of thing, although that was kind of in the U.S., kind of U.S. based versus London mobsters, right? So, but same thing, Scott. They kind of they carved out a niche, a movie niche, a genre that you kind of expect the same format, just different characters. Yep. Right, whether it's Snatch or Layer Cake or this one here,
but it seems that's a lot of them have all the same actors.
Yeah,
Rock and Roll. Snatch has Jason Statham is now the he's working trying to get the diamond, and you got his little sidekick.
Yeah,
and then they get involved with the mob, who's in the mob leaders, and the bar runs the bar for his dad.
Well, over the years, a lot of directors and a lot of actors like to work with the same people because they get along with them. Right. And look at John Wayne. He always kept Harry Carey Jr., Harry Carey Sr. in a lot of his older movies and his newer movies. And a lot of the same people, same dirtbags, same guys that played the bad guys in a lot of different films. A lot of them like to work with the same people.
Yeah, I guess you know what you're going to get, right?
Oh yeah,
and
Adam Sandler does the same thing in all his movies.
Yeah,
they're all friends, they're all buddies. So it's like,
well, in Little Nicky, he has the two guys that are trying to be Satanists. Well, they're in the one where he plays the water boy.
Yeah,
they're in that one. They're all and
they're all in those movies, Grown Ups.
Yeah, and
all of them are in there.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing.
And the little guy that's now a Republican, a conservative.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Rob Schneider. He's in all the same movies with him.
Doesn't he live by you?
You take care of your own people and the people that helped you up.
Yeah.
Those are the actors that I like because they were given a break by these people and they keep them in there.
Right.
And they're easier to work with.
Yeah, I think one of them, James Arness. He was he starred with John Wayne in.
He thanked John Wayne for everything he got.
Yeah, and they went to John Wayne to play Marshall Dillon, and he said no. But I look at James Arness, and That's how he got that role. But they were in a movie where it was a German merchant ship that was, I forget the name. It was actually a true story, and Wayne was the captain, and he played a part on there, James Arness, where he kind of screwed up, and the captain was chastising him. But but yeah, you're right. These guys stick together, and you see
Well,
this.
he played in another one with John Wayne where they were fighting German spies, and Arness actually got killed in it.
Yeah.
And Ward Bond, he had Ward Bond.
Ward Bond was in a lot of his films,
and
absolutely.
vice versa. Yep.
We got to do a little trivia. So James Arness's brother is
Peter Graves.
There you go, from Mission Impossible. That's right. So I didn't know that. That was something I learned in the last few years. And Peter Graves was a great actor too. Enjoyed him.
Oh yeah.
And Mission Impossible, the original Mission Impossible.
The real one, yeah.
Yeah, if you choose not to take this, So, okay, so let's get into the next scene, and this is the ripoff. Did we already do that? We just did the ripoff, right? Where they're planning. No, we didn't. Did we do that one, Martin? Yeah, here we go. They're planning to do the ripoff.
Yes. Now.
No, this is the cage, right? Or which one is this?
The cage, yeah.
Cage, yeah. So here's our marijuana guys, and it looks like they're doing hydroponic grows in the building.
Yep.
And so I don't know, Scott. You want to explain to the audience what a hydroponic grow is? You probably took a few of those down.
Where they use, you could always tell who's doing hydroponic grows first of all, you'd catch somebody buying dope from them or weed, which I never really cared about weed. That was a product of the 70s. Weed was weed. But so they grow it indoors, but their electric bills, you got to use fluorescent lights. Now you can buy them all over the place, but you had to buy a certain type of fluorescent light. And of course, you'd have to have it ventilated. So, people aren't walking by going, "Oh, I smell weed." And then you got to have the lights, and then you pump water through it. And they grow in like a soil, but it's actually the roots are in the water. So you don't have a lot of soil and stuff like that. And so these guys are growing it for breaker. But the funny part to me is when he says, "We're going to get fucked, go get the rifle." So I'm thinking they're going to bring out, like some kind of rifle.
I don't get a rifle.
They brought a pellet gun. Ow! Ooh.
Yeah, here he is. You see him getting shot with the pellet.
Yeah. It was like, what, a BB gun or
the poor
something?
guy that passes out at the door gets his foot blown off.
So here's our other mean guy. This is our other really bad guy.
That was the one they were eavesdropping on.
Yeah, and they're the guys that are doing the ripoff of the, for lack of a better word, soft marijuana dealers, and they're stuck in the cage, which is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Now these guys, they don't have a way out, or they don't try to leave. I guess I would think they'd be leaving, but they go to defend. They defend themselves with a pellet gun, as Scott does. And here's our guy with the machine gun.
Could everybody stop getting shot?
I'd love to have that machine gun.
Oh yeah, a brand.
Yeah. They realize
it's a fucking air rifle. You got shot. I'm shot.
The guy with the brand's the only guy wearing headphones, and everybody else is,
They're all like, "What the fuck?"
yeah, they're all,
will you stop? So it's and then, of course, here's what is that? Of course, they can't hear each other if he's been shooting that gun in this confined space. But yeah, I thought
apparently didn't hear it either.
Yeah, I thought this was a funny scene that got trapped in the cage, and it's how do you get out of the cage? And of course, the leader figures it out. We got somebody here. He's your buddy. We're gonna, blow his foot off. That's first is what they do, and kill him if you don't open the gate. Right? Come down here and open the gate. Right? So I guess that's why he's the guy in charge. Where's my fucking guns? What he says. So here's our heroes here, the dope dealers, realizing they got to probably deal with this guy. I would have thought, hey, come on, you got a cage so you can get the hell out of there, right, Scott? find some way out or destroy the dope, and yet they don't leave the building. They don't.
I don't think they could because they sent the one guy into the back room with all the money,
Right.
and he's standing there with a poker, from the
It was a
fireplace.
machete.
Yeah,
Machete,
they didn't
yeah.
have anywhere to go, but they figured they were safe because they had the front cage. But they were prisoners, and then they're both saying, "Well, if we let them in, they're going to kill us, right?"
Yeah, that's exactly. I wouldn't have let them in. They're just going to kill us.
Yeah.
Yep. But like they said, they're soft, and their friend was going to get his toes shot off. So, all right. But Winston, who was the head of the dope dealers, the dope growers.
Yeah.
That's Steve McIntosh. He played in the movie Underworld, vampire movies.
Oh, he did?
Oh yeah, he played in a couple of those. He was a great actor. Yeah, the guy on the far right, who said, "Go get the rifle." Yeah, a pellet gun.
I thought it was going to be like, at first I thought he was shooting him with a 22, and then when he got like, it's a fucking.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. At first I thought it was one of those tranquilizer guns. Then I thought, a BB gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a way to defend your palace is with a BB gun. That always works.
Yeah, and they were making good money. If you saw I think they thought they could pay off their $500,000. So these guys were clearing a lot of money. One, it's never a good idea to keep that much money at a stash house, right? You move it, get it out of there, because ripoffs happen all the time in the drug game, right, Scott?
Oh, yeah.
There was tons of ripoffs.
A
lot of gang murders.
A lot of gang murders because of ripoffs, right? So this is
Mexican cartels are not the cartels, but it's the prison gang.
Lime?
Yeah, they would do a lot of dope ripoffs of of the gangsters. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're collecting money from them, and they would do ripoffs from them.
Yeah.
Who was that?
La M.A.
Oh, M.A., yeah.
We had a murder up in Firestone's area. Didn't come to the gang unit, but I had a ride along from my wife's cousin from Chicago PD. First of all, he was amazed at the professionalism of a crime scene that we had. He said there would have been 30 people tromping through that crime scene. It was responding deputies roped it off, and nobody's crossed that line unless they had permission. He's like, not in Chicago. It would have been people walking all through it. But anyway, it was two Mexican nationals muling dope up somewhere, and it was a ripoff, and they executed him in a parking lot next to a grocery store.
Wow. So here's our guy. He's the one that's supposed to protect the money, and they can't find it. It's not in the shoe boxes as the original informant says, and eventually they tell him where it's at, and the guy does use that on one of these bad guys and cuts him, right?
Yeah.
And before they kill him, they see all the money though, and that stuns them, right? How much money they're going to rip off. That was the main head guy. Here's our guy with the machete. I don't know. You would think when the Brent gun was going off, I think the machete would. You'd be trying to get the hell out of there. You wouldn't be thinking you would think. You would think, right? So, and then the subsequent event that happens, right? So they put the Bren gun down, and some gal who was passed out picks it up and empties the clip. I don't know if we've passed that or not, but so he's already been hit with the machete, right? You see, he's got his arm.
Yep.
Nearly chopped off my arm, and so this is, but then he sees the money, and that stops him cold. He sees exactly how much money it is. So yeah, people they try to move money out, right? Because they know there's going to be ripoffs. They don't leave that kind of money there, right, John? This is part of the game. They know they're going to rip off. The film brought Ritchie international acclaim and introduced Statham, a former diver, and Jones, a former footballer, to a worldwide audience in their feature film debuts. Oh, I didn't know it was both their debuts. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Gambit. Yeah, we
mentioned that earlier.
I knew that it brought them. I didn't know it was like I knew it was the footballer's first one. I didn't know it was Jason's first film. But yeah, like I said, that's one of the reasons why I like this film is because we're introducing some relatively new guys to, and including Harry. Harry had what's his name survived McLean. I'm sure he would have been in more movies, right? Harry the Baptist had he not had cancer. He did because he was also introduced in this film. So here we go. Here's and the other thing is they take all the weed. I don't know if I would have taken the weed, Scott. I think I would have just taken the money, got the hell out of there. But they actually take the weed too and throw it in bags in their thing. And this is when they end up getting. I don't know if I do a scene, but they end up getting our warden
and the traffic control officer.
I just know I like the name because it's so typical.
Traffic warden.
A warden, the traffic warden,
Yeah.
right? That's so typical. That's so British,
And then you confront people with the attitude that he had, and you have no gun.
Yeah, I know.
You have nothing to back you up, but your pen and your ticket book.
You're illegally parked. You have to move this.
He's like, "What are you going to do about it?"
They definitely aren't doing that now in UK.
No, well, you know what? When Scott and I went there, it's interesting what they do. They have the automated license plate readers everywhere, right?
Oh God!
And if you're driving your car and it's not registered, and it's on the streets and they read it, they just go get your car and seize your car because you drove on the road without registering or without paying your registration. So I mean, they really use it. They use that system pretty aggressively, right, Scott? And they
Oh yeah. Remember we went to their MIB. We went to a little secret hideout, and we watched them track that IRA member from sitting on the ferry coming across to England and followed his car all the way. Then he went into a camera store?
Yeah.
And they had an undercover go in behind him, and they had the cameras and it's like, man, you can't do crap when you come there. Everywhere.
Really tried to get LA to embrace that because they had all these old transit lines. So if you remember the old Red Line, they bought all the railways. The Metro did, which means they have a conduit. So you can lay conduit, and you could have built if they wanted to. It would have been much bigger than London because LA is so spread out. But you could have built something very similar to what they had in London, with automated license plate readers, but also some CCTV cameras. I don't see as much value with CCTV cameras because it just takes so much to get through. But the automated license plate ones work, and the CCTVs are great for after the fact investigations. Those not necessarily preventative, but in London they use it all. They actually not just in London, the outskirts throughout UK, right? Because you said they followed this guy all the way from. Was Northern Ireland, right? Down into
took the ferry from Belfast to I can't remember what port it was, and then they followed him all the way into London.
Yeah.
All on all those that room with all the multiple TVs, and they had surveillance going on one TV over here or somebody else. It was like these guys are serious business over here about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Going to shit.
I think the Obama years, they de-emphasize that stuff slowly, and then Trump never really his first term he wasn't really leading his first term because he was under fire so much, and then Biden completely switched it to where we've just focused on his political enemies. Suddenly conservatives were all the targets. I mean, I read his strategic. Terrorism strategies and whatever, and it was clear he was going after his political enemies, and he did. And that's the crazy thing is they're saying, "Oh, Trump is weaponizing the DOJ." It's like, dude, we had 4 years of it. You just were. It was your side doing it, so you're okay with it, right? So
it wasn't reported either.
Yeah. The reporters didn't say anything, right?
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Well, look at all the lawsuits that Trump's winning now.
Fire until just now.
I know.
He has enough sense to dime off the others, but he's an idiot. But in the UK, you can't say it. You can't. They arrested a lady.
It's so
yeah.
weird. I know you can't put social media stuff up that offends, and somebody had got anxiety from your post, and they go to your house to cite you and arrest you. I'm like, I see that and I go, that just can't be true, but I think it is.
It is. They had a lady standing out of a abortion place
Right.
in England with a sign, "Don't do it. If you need help, come see me." Arrested her.
It's crazy, John. I know
Offensive material.
you've been in Facebook jail how many times? Could you imagine if you were in the UK?
Oh
you'd
God,
have been in real jail.
Facebook jail.
Well, he changed it. He had to change his name because
I have no social media. That way, I don't have to deal with any. The only thing my wife gets tired of me spouting shit on.
Well,
That's
I don't
really
know.
crazy.
I don't know if you remember when the British government has the goal to say that if somebody outside of the UK posted
they're gonna
something
come
on
after
social
them.
media,
Oh yeah, they're gonna arrest
yes,
us.
and they should extradite them to us. All right.
I think
Yeah.
John was at the top of their list. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
bring it,
Yeah,
bitches.
bring it. Bring your
Well,
British
let's-
ass over here. I'll show you why we have guns.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah,
why
we
kicked your ass
beat
in
the British
1775.
once. We'll beat the British once. We'll beat them again. Huh? Okay, so rip off the rip off. So these guys. So the guys rip off. Obviously our marijuana, soft marijuana guys, the soy boys. They rip off the soy boys, right? And they go back to the. It's interesting. They got these guys sitting out front as soon as people leave. Do you notice that? They know if you watch it in the scene, I think it's pretty funny. As soon as somebody shows up, everybody outside leaves because they know these guys are bad dudes. They don't want any part of it. Like these two guys, watch. They'll get up and they'll leave in this scene. But so our bad guy is right here. Right? So it's like, okay, we we can't talk, we can't be here because these guys are bad dudes. They're unpredictable. Is the way I saw that. So they did their rip off, and now our intrepid heroes are going to rip off the rip off artists, which is a dangerous thing, right, Scott? I mean, everybody's got guns. They got a Bren gun, but even in real life, ripping off the rip off
Everybody
artists.
knows who everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you rip off one gang or one group of individuals, and then word spreads that, hey, this group over here came into a lot of money, and then the light bulb goes off over here. It's like it's a vicious circle.
Right. And
you go and steal it back from these guys and kill them. Then somebody on the other goes, wait a minute, those were our buddies. Now we got to go kill these. It just becomes a shit show.
Exactly.
It's all about greed too.
It's all about money or how. Well, like they take all the marijuana. Why? You got over $500,000 in that bag. Like when they're counting it out, they're like, "Well, here's Harry's cut. That leaves us 250 apiece, 250,000 apiece."
Yeah, you're right. Right. So
like,
it was like 200,000 each. Right. Yeah. So this is way a lot more money than 500,000. Right. And then. Yeah, because the other thing, the marijuana just is, people can smell marijuana. It's just something that's going to get you caught. But hey,
I think some of it might have been cocaine, because later when the one guy's trying to sell him the cocaine, and then he goes, well, I'm going to have it tested. Then he's like, they're trying to sell me my own cocaine back. These are the blokes that he's connected to the guys that stole it.
Right. So do you know who you're messing with? Here's our other tough guy. Do you know who you're messing with? And here's our lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. Here's our vintage shotguns, which I'm glad they didn't saw down. I swear to God, I thought they were going to turn them into sawed-off shotguns and then destroy their value. But and you can see this guy. I'm going to get you guys, and he does a pretty once he figures out who they are, he does go after them pretty aggressively. He just runs into a tougher guy eventually, right? So
this is the funny part right here, though.
Yeah, that's right. This is the traffic warden guy comes up.
Yeah, what do we got back here? Oh, we got money, we got pets. Oh, and we got a traffic control officer. What? And they all start
That's another one of those things where it's like, okay, we got to add something a little bit funny in here, and then they weave in the traffic warden guy, and because I looked him up, he's kind of a comic, the traffic warden guy, and so here he is picking up. We got the traffic warden guy, and then they lump him up afterwards. So.
Traffic warden.
Yeah, I think he's still alive.
Here's the part that these guys are supposed to be they're using their first names. They're going, Ed, what do we got back?
Yeah. That's why I don't know. This is a dark.
They're all like, what they want with a traffic warden? I don't know. Take him out. Knock him out.
Yeah, we don't need him.
And so he hits them and doesn't knock him out. So then they all start hitting him, trying to knock him out.
I thought at this point, they just throw him out the back, right? But
I
no,
thought you would.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. Hey, you know what? We didn't kidnap you. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, don't touch him up. Just knock him out. They touched him up big time.
You want to knock him out? You try it. Yeah, none of these guys look like they're enforcer types.
No.
None of our main crew, even though one of them goes on to be
way over their
action
head.
stars. They're over their head, and
I'll do it. I hate traffic wardens. Poor That's the only guy I felt bad about. The whole movie was a poor traffic warden.
So here we go. And now this is obviously here's Chris. He's our bad guy, and the little guy's name is Little Chris. So you got Big Chris and Little Chris.
Yeah.
And I should look up him up and see what's happened with Little Chris as an actor. You know what? I can't pull him. His name is Peter McNichol. I don't have a.
That's right.
Peter McNichol. So.
Is that Christy McNichol's brother?
I don't think so. I think she's. But hey, Chris is getting more instructions. What he wants him to go after, and obviously we see our guy Lenny in the back there, and. No, Harry, you can't, right? So, but anyway, so Harry is you can see it's funny because Harry's always playing with some kind of sex toy in his hand. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So he's got some kind of sex toy in his hand that he's playing with. Vinnie Joe's first day on filming, he had just been released from police custody. He had been arrested for beating up his neighbor. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
So he's got anger management problems, huh? So here's our four guys. Now they've done their ripoff, right? And they're being pursued. They got to pay this guy back. They realize that, and they're going to pay him back. That's the interesting thing. They're going to pay him back, but Harry says, "Hey, they haven't called me yet." So he sends Chris out to get his money from them. Or they're going to try and take the bar. And I didn't put that scene in there where they called up Sting about the bar. And then here's our other guy, Breaker. He now realized he's getting ripped off. So we're starting to see everything's going to come together, right? We're going to start to see the intersection or the interaction between these different crews. And here's this guy. This guy's interesting because he's just this kind of a freelancer. Is probably the best way to say it, right?
Yeah, he's a fence, right?
Yeah, he's a freelancer. He's a fence. He's and I do think this is funny. He keeps putting his drink on this.
Yeah,
it keeps dropping through, and he does a pretty good job of being afraid of this guy. You see his facial expressions. He's actually afraid of Breaker Rory here, and but it's interesting that I've been ripped off. We're gonna get our guns and we're gonna go get our money back, and we're gonna figure out who did this. And he's pressuring this guy, figure out who the hell did all this stuff, right? And that it'll end up bringing these guys together. So I don't know what you think of the fence guy. He just kind of enters. He's just making money, playing with dangerous people. But he didn't really have any loyalty to anybody. It's about himself. But he also he's a survivor kind of guy. What do you think, Scott?
Oh yeah, you can. At the beginning when he's selling the shotguns, it's $700 a piece, and he's a fence. He's got all that stuff, in his back room that he's selling to people, and but then after shit starts going wrong and he gives the information on who's got the money and the dope, where it's coming from, you see him packing up all his shit and leaving.
Yeah.
And then later they go, "Hey, has anybody seen what's his face? He's in the wind." So
Yeah.
he's only out for himself. He doesn't care what happens to everybody he dimes off. He just gets the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, he's into making money and surviving, and
Yeah.
so he kind of plays an interesting character where he kind of intersects and or he kind of brings these different crews together, and so he plays kind of an important role. But there are crooks that are like that, right? Well, actually, they're
Most
probably
crooks are like
those are your informants, right?
that. Exactly. Keep me out of jail. I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah, right. So
I'll give you my grandma's apple pie recipe if you can keep me out of jail.
So, John, what'd you think of that character, the chubby Italian guy? He's survivor type, right? He's just working to make a living, but he gets the hell out of Dodge when it starts to get hot.
Exactly. I'm sorry, I didn't follow a lot of what you were talking about because I looked up Peter McNichol, little Chris.
All right.
And there's two Peter McNichols, different spelling. The one that Scott said is Christy McNichol's brother, and he was in Grey's Anatomy. But this guy is in All About a Boy. He played a boy with Hugh Grant, was the parent. And he's played in a couple other English movies, and that's about it. It doesn't have much on him after that. He's basically he hasn't done much. And he looks totally different. Two different Peter McNichols.
Yeah, he's probably this is 1999, so he's probably 13 in that, or maybe 15 in that film, and so now we're talking 25 years later, so he's 50?
Oh yeah, he's 40, 42.
Yeah.
He did a few other things, and he played a adolescent like 13 in All About a Boy with Hugh Grant.
Right.
But other than that, there's not much to him.
Yeah, well, maybe he made a little bit of money, went to school, and picked up another profession.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I looked up his biography. It doesn't have anything.
So here's guess who distributed the movie in the U.S. I don't know who. Let us know, Gambit, who distributed the movie. Also, Madonna did.
I don't know. I just
I'm
guessed.
guessing.
Madonna? I don't know. You just get. I don't know. We'll see. Well, maybe Gambit will tell us here. Now, I labeled this next scene corpses for obvious reasons. Tom Cruise did. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow. Let's roll with the next scene, corpses, and this is Breaker goes to get his money back. He figures out who ripped him off, and it's the crew that actually did do the ripoff that he goes to get his money from, and everybody's locked and loaded, right? Included the guy with the Bren gun. So we got all of our brothers here who are armed with mostly shotguns, and it's funny. So these guys all got these big guns, and this Breaker brings out this little 25.
Yeah, two of them.
Two of them. Yeah. I go, well, okay, that's a little underwhelming, So it's just these little things that get people to chuckle. That's his gun. That's what he's going to carry. But that's what he's doing. But here's all our bad, and here's our ripoff crew, and they get confronted by the black guys who break in the door to get their money back, and all you hear is the shooting start. Right, so they don't show the shooting going on, but you hear you see the shooting start, the windows getting blown out, and that kind of thing. And this guy's hiding under a bed as the shooting is going on. He's one of the last ones killed. But this is what the movie was coming. This was a setup, and afterwards, the reason why I named the corpses because there's corpses everywhere, and
not a single policeman to be found.
I know.
You don't even hear the sirens.
Like I said, you have basically a small war going on in an apartment building, and nobody called the cops. Nobody heard it.
Oh wow! So I didn't know that. So the film was having trouble finding an American distributor. I don't know why. I thought this was a pretty good film.
Yeah, isn't Trudy Styler Sting's wife?
Maybe called an acquaintance of her, Tom Cruise. He attended the screening and loved the film. Yeah, okay. At least I don't have much in common with Tom Cruise. He's got a lot of hair. I don't. I think we're about the same age. He's been
You
married.
don't do your own stunts.
I don't do my own stunts. No, after what I went through, there's no way in hell I'd do my own stunts. You know, I
Ain't
wouldn't
that the
want to.
truth?
Yeah, man, my body's so broken up. That's why Tom Cruise can do it because he hasn't really had to live a life where he's working for a living every single day with a gun belt on and doing stuff, right? Doing real action stuff.
Yep.
But this guy survives the shootout. Our main bad guy survives the shootout.
He gets out. Well,
and this is the confrontation between him and Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris is coming for his money, picking up the money for Harry.
Yes, right. And I think the interaction between these two guys I really liked, right? Because these are two tough guys, and the question is who's going to survive, right? That's eventually what's going to be what this is going to come down to here between these two guys. And he takes the money or takes whatever from him, and he's heading out. Here's our other two guys. They see the shotguns. Oh, there's the shotguns. We got to get these shotguns, and not knowing who they're dealing with, right?
Exactly.
Not knowing who they're dealing with. The two weakest. It's interesting because these are out of all of these guys. These are the two weakest of the characters in terms of a criminal gravitas. Let's find a word for me.
Yeah, they're lowball dime store criminals as opposed to everybody else, and they're not the sharpest tools in the shed either.
Yeah, they're burglars, not robbers. Basically, is probably the way I say it. They want to avoid the confrontation if they can. That's who they are, and you can see that because they're arguing. Who's going to do this, right? This is out of
Chris and realize that hey. That's a real hard case over there.
Right. Yeah.
You're just not going to walk up and get the guns from this guy. You're going to either leave
you go do it. No,
you
go do
or
it.
Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So here he is with the little Chris talking, and but yeah, it's these two guys, our two guys here. There's a lot of comic relief between these two guys. I'm not going to do that. No, you do that. I mean,
yeah.
But they're the weakest of it. But they end up being the ones who take out, the Baptist and the hatchet, right?
Yeah, the hatchet man and the Baptist.
Unbeknownst.
But how it happens is because they're scared to death.
Yeah.
And the adrenaline went crazy, and they did it.
Well, after he shoots Barry the Baptist, he's like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yeah, they had no clue that these guys were together.
No.
What are you doing here?
So here's our tough guy that survives it, and he's he's not going to be denied, right? You would think that.
Oh, he gets run over.
He got run over. Now he takes this guy out of his car and he pursues Chris, Big Chris.
Yeah.
The guy who's driving this car, that's Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew who?
Vaughn. He's the producer of the movie.
Oh, he is.
Is it?
Oh,
Matthew Vaughn, huh?
I didn't check
know that.
Did you see how much? What did they use to make this film? Let's see, and how much did they make off it? I guess let's say I'm on the wrong page for that.
no, it was low budget.
Yeah, it was low budget, but let's see. Okay, the budget was 800 pounds, or that's 1.5 million, and it made 28 million at the box office. So I think they call that a success when you do that.
Yep.
Back in,
Yeah.
I guess if you add 25 years worth of, maybe that's 100 million they'd make today, right? Cost them 5 and make 100. So that's a good return on your investment, right? So
Yeah.
but here it is. So it's interesting when they go in and get their money, they see all these bodies all over the place and to get their money, right? And of course they're shocked, and they leave. But that's why I named these same corpses, because there's just corpses everywhere. And you see these the black guys are all just on their backs, right, with their shotguns on them. So none of it was realistic in the body placement or anything like that. But it was an interesting scene. And they're looking. Here's the guys are looking at what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Again, all the bullets that went through the window.
I know. Yeah.
Nobody thought to, hey, there's something going on over here in our neighborhood.
Well, even Breaker gets killed in the end. The one Weasley guy with the beard, they end up shooting each other. Him with his 25, the other guy with the shotgun. Even they don't survive this, right?
Right.
But there's Breaker right there on the couch, and but there's our shotguns that are valuable, right?
Yeah.
And nobody knows it yet.
Nobody knows it yet.
And heroes.
So Chris delivers them. How did you get your hands on these? The boys had them, right? So and there's Harry the Hatchet. So Chris delivers the shotguns at least, and the money, right? So and it's interesting because Harry says, "Oh well, these guys did intend on paying me back." I mean, that's the interesting thing. He sends Chris to go get them. They still had a day, and they go, "Oh well, they were going to pay me back." And I guess in crime world that probably is a positive thing. But this is going to be our next scene of corpses again, right? So he gives them his guns here. He takes off, and our two knuckleheads thinks that's where the guns are at. So we got to go get them because Barry the Baptist is going to kill us if we don't. This is the comedic part of this thing, right? And these are two guys who are not used to doing robberies. Now they're going to do a robbery. I counted it. Yeah, it's all there to the pound. And this is where I think he says, "Oh, so they were going to pay. They were going to pay." So Harry the Hatchet's like, "Wow, these guys actually came up with $500,000 in a week," which he didn't expect. So I don't know. This is. What do you think of this scene, John? It just.
Well, I liked it when the first guy walks in and they're both facing each other with the guns, and of course the little guy is like, "Oh shit." And I didn't think he had it loaded, but Harry the Hatchet had his loaded. Yeah. Blew him away. And that's when the other one got his balls up and came in and did everything.
Finished him off. Yeah. Yeah. Finished him off. Yeah. So Harry, I think he's excited he got the guns back more than anything else, right? Because the antiques were personal. It wasn't really about money, I think. The antiques were a personal thing. He just wanted them in his collection. He cherished them, and that's what that was about. But it is a setup for the next scene, and of course it hey, that's what the title's about. Two smoking barrels, right? So lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. So these guns have to play a role all the way through the movie, and they do all the way to the end. And we might as well roll with the next scene here. The next scene is "Oh No, Not Again," is what I titled this, because our four guys come to talk to Harry, right? And because Harry ordered them there. And what do they find? A room full of bodies again. That's why I leave.
Yeah, but didn't they talk to him on the phone? And he said, I was ripped off. He goes, "Well, you still owe me."
Right.
But yeah, and then they come in, everybody's dead again.
And the money's there and the guns are there, right? So let's roll with that scene. Martine, if you got it, it's "Oh No, Not Again." And which I thought that was a great line, because that was the line the guy said as he walked in the room. "Oh no, not again. A room full of bodies." And which is what made it. I thought that was comedic gold when they said that. But here's our four guys going to their fate, and they walk into Harry's sex shop.
I like the sign.
Yeah.
Harry Lonsdale, porn king.
Yeah. If they get "Oh no, not again." Yeah, see there, right there. "Oh no, not again." So, and they look and they see, "Oh, Harry's dead. We don't owe him any money. Oh, the money's here. Oh, the guns are here." And there's Barry the Baptist. So I have to clarify, because I didn't do the scene. So our two guys that were are supposed to steal the shotguns, they come breaking in thinking the shotguns are there, and not realizing it's Harry the Hatchet. And Harry shoots one. He shoots the big guy, right? And then the little guy
shoots the little guy.
Shoots the little guy, and the big guy comes in with both two guns in his hands and opens up on Harry, kills Harry, and then he takes a hatchet in the back.
Yep.
And as he spins around he sees Barry the Baptist, and he says, "What do you?" And he fires with his little 22 or whatever it is, and hits the Baptist in the gut, and is like, "What are you doing here?" Suddenly dawning on him as he's dying that he's ripping off his boss that instructed him to get the guns, right?
Right.
And that's where, so that ends up being, so that's four bodies, right? So you got 4 bodies now, and that's where they say, "What? Not again, right?" And
Right,
they take.
but see,
Go ahead.
I'm taking these shotguns, and it's like, don't fuck around, man. Let's go. And he's like, I'm taking it because he's at the end. I paid $700 piece for these. I'm keeping them.
Keeping them. And then we had the final scene where he's still in there getting the shotguns, and Chris shows up again. And I think Chris has the money at this point, and Chris takes off with the money, and they got the shotguns, and that's where it separates. And in the final scene, you know, I don't think I did the final scene where Chris drops off a bag at the bar, and the bag is empty. He says, "I'll take my portion," which was the 500,000.
I need to take care of my kid, and
yeah, I'm going to take care of my kids.
if
And
you
he's got
come
a nice
after
car.
me, you better be waving a huge white flag.
Yeah, that's right, because
Yep.
he's gonna assume you're coming for money.
Well, before that, you know, they told Tom, Jason Flemyng, to get rid of him because that's the only thing leading us to any of the crimes. So
Yes.
to get rid of him. And then when he brings them that bag, I'm thinking all the money's in there. They open it up and go, "What the?" And it's just a book on antique arms. And they start looking through it. It's worth $30 million or $3 million, whatever it was.
It was 350 pounds, which is
Yeah.
$500,000, and they're like, now they're all trying to scramble to call him. But here's the scene, I think, where Big Chris takes care of the other tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, he crashes the car, drags his head, and then slams the door. And I won't go into the graphic.
Well, he
detail,
threatened
but-
his son.
Yeah, you threatened his
Yeah, a
son.
knife around his son.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, this is a good scene. I mean, I won't go
Nowhere
into
has
all-
anybody ever been so rude.
Is that
Hey,
what
look
he
at this.
said?
I mean, just think about how this is filmed. So you got the camera shooting up, and Big Chris slamming towards the camera, yelling at his bad guy here, and he says you're rude. And this is and he does a really good job because he's got to pretend like he's angry and he's yelling at a camera, right? If you think about it, I mean, just think about it, and yeah, I like I said, I like this guy in the movie, and a great job in his first movie. I also do like all the interesting cars they have. Kind of cool. And particularly the car he has at the end, right? And here he is. He finds out, well, you guys got the money, you cheeky. Here's the other thing, cheeky bastards. They use the English lingo, whatever slang, whatever they're saying there. But yeah, I think this is a great movie. A lot of twists and turns in the movie, John. In the end, these guys could be rich if they don't actually throw the shotguns into the Thames.
And they leave it hanging.
They leave it hanging.
He's got
absolutely.
the phone in his mouth. He's trying to drop him in the Thames, and it's like, what? No, you call him. You call him. I don't have the number. No, you call him.
Here's the final confrontation between Chris and, was it Tom? So one's got the shotguns, not knowing that they're not loaded, and one's got the money, and they decide to walk away, right? And Chris can see his employer's dead. He's thinking he did it. Who did it? He doesn't even know who did it, right? He doesn't know that it was these two knuckleheads that were just trying to get the shotguns back. Yeah, so this was a great movie, right, Scott? Good, interesting twists and turns, and kept you on your seat. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know who was going to come out alive either, right?
There's just a lot of killing.
No cops, a lot of killing. Only one traffic warden.
Like I said,
The same in Rock and Rolla.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I like these British humor. I mean, dark humored
Crime dramas. Yeah.
What do they call those? I don't know, comedy and drama put together.
Yeah,
comedy.
dark comedies. Yeah, they call it a dark neo-noir black comedy. Black comedy. So you said dark, so black comedy crime film. So yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But there's just so much going on. After a while, you're like, okay, come on, man. Let's get to the point.
Get to it. Well, this was an hour and 40. Some of his films are like less than that.
Yeah, they go quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, I like his movies. I like Snatch. I like Rock and Rolla. I like Layer Cake is good. But yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It took me out of being outside and working in a couple projects we have going on. So it
Well,
was
did
good
your
to-
wife watch this one with you?
No, she was out working. She's got a project and she's determined to get it finished today. So
Okay,
she's
all
been
right.
down in the creek bringing out big rocks to line her little pathway. Well, it's not little; it's like 70 feet long.
Damn.
Yeah, you're a better man than me, Gunga Dan. I wouldn't want to do that. You know, it
Yeah.
sounds like work to me. So
Yeah, it is work, but we
Hey,
got nothing
he's
else
got
going
it
on.
easy.
Yeah.
He doesn't do shit. He sits home and drinks his bourbon,
Yeah, sure.
enjoys life. You know,
I'm out there. Everybody's like, "What do you do out there?" I'm like, "There's so much stuff."
I
You
know
want
there
me to-
always is. People don't understand that. I was busier when I retired after I left you guys in 2010 for several years.
just
There's something you told me, John, when I talked to you about, God, I don't know what, 6-7 months after you retired, that I still tell people to this day. I said, I had a lieutenant when I asked, how's retirement life? He said, the biggest difference is I get up every morning and think, what do I want to do today? Instead of, what do I have to do today?
Exactly.
That stuck with me since then.
Exactly. And as soon as we're done here, I have an appointment. Then I'm going to go shooting.
Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me again for a movie review on Morning Coffee.
It's always
Chief.
great seeing you guys. Love
Yeah,
it.
this is a good connection, and stick around for a quick debrief. Martine, we are at the end of our show today. Gambit, thank you for sticking with us all the way through. Unfortunately, the geek has left us. Hopefully, he'll come back next week from the UK. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me again. Martine, you can take it away.
Y'all come back now, you hear? Matt Damon.